My life involves using all types of paper all the time. And I know that unlike fossil-based materials, the raw material for paper is at least renewable. But what about all the trees? Are we depleting a natural resource or supporting something sustainable? I've heard about the Swedish company Surdra's claim to make the world's most sustainable pulp. And of course wood pulp is the starting point for most paper products. So I guess the only way to find out if they can back up this claim is to pay them a visit. Let's start from the very beginning with a visit to one of the Surdra nurseries. My first meeting will be with growing manager Johan Henriksson and site manager Tord Baron.
Hello, welcome to Surdra's nursery.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi.
Hi, how do you do? Thanks. So Johan, tell me, is it true that this entire operation is run without the need for fossil fuels?
Yes. Last year we became totally fossil-free, this nursery, and we are using, for example, wood pellets for heating these greenhouses.
Okay. And where do you source that green energy from?
The wood pellets, we got that from our sawmills, like a byproduct, and we also got the electricity from our pulp industries.
Right, okay. When you think of growing anything, you think of pests and therefore you think chemicals. How do you manage that, bearing in mind you're trying to be a sustainable operation here?
Yes, we're always trying to focus so we're not using so much chemicals, and we're trying to reduce that every year.
Yeah.
And actually the last 10 years we have reduced that with 50% the use of chemicals, pesticides.
Okay. Oh, okay, yes. Thanks. Oh, that's really interesting. Thanks, Johan. Now, looking at all these wonderful seedlings in front of me, how do you ensure that these tiny little guys end up as healthy trees? How do you make sure that the growth is fast but also healthy?
We have that in our orchards. So there we pick out the best genetics to give a sustainable forestry for our owners.
Right. Okay.
So we can increase the growth and also make them healthier.
So toward this frame here that we can see, how large an area of forest does that represent?
These seedlings will cover roughly 1 hectare out in the forest at our owners.
Wow, okay. So this, what I can see here, equals 1 hectare?
Yes,
okay.
2 soccer fields.
Ah, right, that's amazing. Now I'm standing here in the deep heart of Småland. I gather that Surdra's forests are actually privately owned by its 52,000 members. I'd like to know how that leads to better outcomes in terms of sustainability, so I've tracked down a member and forest inspector. Hi, how do you do? Hi, Jonathan.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hiya. Good to meet you. Lisa, it's wonderful to be out here in the forests, just the sounds, the smells, everything. It's such a great place to be. These forests are all privately owned, aren't they? Can you tell me a little bit about that then?
Yes, it's true. It's owned by members who, like me and my family, have a long-term approach.
Yeah. Okay.
And we are members of Surdra. I think the forest has many important values, like recreation, hunting, go out for a walk, or just enjoy the silence. And
the beauty of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Oh, well, thank you very much for bringing me here. It's been a very special experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Ulrika, tell me about these forests. They're absolutely wonderful places to be, but something's concerning me is that if you're cutting trees down, ultimately, aren't you reducing the forests?
No, because with the Surdra's help we are replanting the forest after it's been harvested. We plant more than 3 seedlings per tree that we cut down.
Okay, okay. So does that mean that actually the forests are growing because they're being managed?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And so ultimately is management helping with climate change then?
Yes, if the forest is managed properly, it absorbs even more carbon dioxide.
Okay. So we can use forest products and feel good about the environment?
I really think so.
Okay, that's very good to know. So Glenn, tell me, you can't possibly use every bit of every tree, can you? There must be waste involved in this process.
Not really. An effective use of the raw material is to use it for biofuel. You use it sometimes to protect the soil from compaction when you're driving out the machines.
Right.
So it is used, most of it, all the time.
Right, okay. Tell me, climate change. Presumably that's got to be an issue. How is that affecting forestry?
Well, it's affecting that trees do get sometimes attacked by insects, for example, because they're getting affected by the heat or the lack of water.
Yeah.
And also you have an increase of fire risks, also when it's very dry.
Oh, okay.
And that does, of course, affect our production.
Right,
too.
right, okay. Now, the harvesting process itself, I guess that must create emissions.
Oh, of course, of course. It's about 40% of the total CO2 emission from Södra.
Yeah.
But we're all the time working with make it more efficient and make it better.
Okay.
So it's an ongoing process.
Okay, okay. Now, tell me a bit about what you do with these harvesting plans which you devise for members, which you have on your device here.
Yeah.
How does that affect biodiversity? How do you help with biodiversity?
Oh, well, it helps us, first of all, to identify it, where we have the high value plots on a plot.
Yeah,
And,
high value meaning?
Yeah, like it could be rare insects, rare plants,
Yeah.
and it then helps us to protect them when we actually are harvesting and managing the forest.
Right, okay. To maintain the beautiful place that it is.
Absolutely.
Healthy and productive.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Today I'll catch up with production manager Karin Dernegård and mill manager Karsten Viga, who are responsible for this impressive facility. So Karin, I'm told this is a combined facility. Can you explain exactly what that means?
That means that we have a sawmill and a pulp mill in the same location. So we provide them with heat and electricity, and we get sawmill chips and bark in return.
Thinking of the overall operation, tell me a bit about the carbon footprint.
Of course, when we have disturbances, maintenance shutdowns, we need to use fossil fuel, but we try to keep it as low as possible, the consumption.
Okay. And another aspect, of course, which I guess must be very important for a mill like this is water footprint. Tell me a bit about that.
We get our water from M1, it's a river north of us.
Yeah.
It's surface water, and we have had a lot of projects going on with trying to reduce the consumption, and we're actually top class.
Really, within the world of pulp, you're top class. Okay. So you're generating your own electricity then?
Yeah, that's right. We have a type of system there when we split the wood into the pulp, the other part generates energy that we do in the recovery boiler.
Okay.
And with this we can start to drive turbines and then we generate electricity.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You're self-sufficient in electricity?
We are more than self-sufficient. We have at least roughly 100%, and that means that we can supply to the grid, and it's green electricity.
Really?
Yes, we do so, yeah. It's not only inside the operations, we only give to external customers.
Right. I'm going to go off a little bit of a tangent here, because thinking of a huge industrial operation like this one, you must attract the attention of the health and safety people.
I would say this is today my topic agenda in every meeting everywhere, and that's quite clear. As you see, we are quite high here. We had a lot of risk in this type of business, but if you have it on a structured way, preventive, and you have big involvement of the organization,
Yes.
It's get better and better and better all the time.
So how about the product that leaves those high-tech industrial facilities that we've seen? It's the main component of so many of the everyday things we take for granted, such as toilet paper, tissue paper, baking paper and so on. Let's see if Sales Director Maria Staxhammer and Technical Product Director Johannes Bogren have any answers. I bet they have. So Maria, could you tell me a bit about your new pulp initiative?
Yes, one really good thing is that pulp will be wrapped using our new paper straps called FiberSafe, which is really good from a health and safety aspect concerning the dewiring process. Also, we have customers whose customers have extremely high requirements when it comes to cleanliness, especially regarding metals and plastics. And paper-strapped pulp will enable them to avoid even small microscopic residues in their process.
Yeah. That sounds important. So Maria, tell me about the implications of FiberSafe from a transport point of view.
Yeah. At present, paper-strapped pulp is transported by direct lorry or by train, but we hope that in the future it can also be shipped by vessel.
Oh right, that'll be great. So Johannes, tell me, does your pulp meet all the strict environmental regulations then?
Yes, of course. Our customers and our customers' customers have very high demands on this. This very pulp is approved to be labeled with Eco Label, with Nordic Swan or the Blue Label. The pulp might also end up in a paper product around a hamburger or around bread perhaps. So that's why it's approved according to SEGA to be in contact with food. According to BFR, FDA and the Chinese National Standard for Food Safety.
Now what about all these forestry certifications I've heard about? Tell me about that.
Well, this pulp can be bought both with FSC or PFC, or actually a combination of both, which gives the customer great flexibility in choosing certification systems for their products.
Now, tell me about bleaching and sustainability.
Well, this very pulp here is bleached according to TCF, totally chlorine-free bleaching. But we also offer pulp according to ECF, elementally chlorine-free.
So people have a choice?
They have a choice, of course.
Excellent, thanks very much. Today I'm going to meet Strategic Business Development Manager Henrik Brodin, who knows all about fuels and transport, because of course getting goods from A to B can be just as important for sustainability as the raw material and the method of production. All that wood that's coming into the mills from all over the country, how do you manage that from an environmental point of view?
We are one of the biggest diesel buyers within Sweden, and 10 years ago we started to challenge the fuel manufacturers, the truck manufacturers, that we want to drive this complete fossil free. And now we have a filling station network on all our production sites, which is complete fossil free. We have no fossil oil at all.
But are you involved in producing the biofuel for those trucks?
Yeah, we are. We have one company called Sunpine, which we own and started together with partners, who produce diesel from tall oil, a residue from the pulp mill. We also this year starting up a biomethanol plant within Mönsterås, where we use another residue from the pulp mill. And then we also have a joint venture in Norway, a Silva Green Fuel, where we will produce biodiesel from solid biomass, forestry residues. Trains is also actually a challenge for the diesel trains. And we have today started up discussions with the Green Cargo how we can solve this to have HVO, for example, in the trains instead of diesel.
Now you've mentioned 100% fossil fuel free transport. Is it really possible?
Yeah, we have our group target that we shall be fossil-free transport until 2030, and I believe we will succeed. We have a clear pathway how we will go there, and we take small steps every day to get to this goal, and we create both demand and supply for biofuel and for other solutions that are fossil-free. And by doing this, we add value for our customers, their customers, and the society as well.
Okay, well that's excellent. Let's go and see where you're going to deliver this stuff. Well, it's been an unexpected journey, but I've got other stories to write, so my tour must come to an end. But I feel reassured that sustainability and paper can go hand in hand, particularly with a company like Södra, which works to make the most sustainable pulp possible.